welcome back to my doll room. I thought today we could discuss Blythe Dolls, since those were the second line of dolls I ended up collecting. So the first Blythe doll I ever got was this girl over here with the light purple hair and the black bow. I got her from a seller on Etsy. At first I was very interested in the custom Blythes, and later on I ended up getting the more legit Takara Blythe dolls from CC Toys, I think it's located in Hong Kong. But so I ended up deciding that my Blythe girls are actually elemental fairies, even if they don't have wings, that they don't need wings to be an elemental fairy. And so she's an air fairy. And so then my second girl I got is this girl here from a different seller on Etsy, and she's a custom. She has mohair. I really wanted a girl with this kind of dark ashy blonde look. And I am changing her story over time. So I ended up deciding that she's a werewolf and her name's Sky. And I ended up deciding that a werewolf can also be an elemental fairy, and that they're kind of all these magical creatures. Which then, kind of on a side note, a girl that came much later is this girl here, and her name's Anastasia. And she's a custom vampire I made. And so she's also an elemental fairy, but also a vampire. She's like an earth fairy. And then, so after I got this girl and this girl, I found this seller I found her through Facebook, but then I purchased the girl on her Etsy account. She's little, there you go. I named her Ariel, and she's a water elemental fairy. And then much later, not quite in order, the seller also made this girl, who I named Apple, and she's a fire elemental fairy. And I ended up deciding that these two girls are actually sisters, and that different elemental fairies can have children together, and so their mother's a water fairy and their father's a fire fairy, and so they both inherited different abilities from their parents. So I have them actually in this schoolroom by Our Generation, and it's almost kind of like my American Girl Anne of Green Gables doll is teaching elemental fairies in the classroom. So she's their teacher, and they have some Smurfs that are hanging out too. And yeah, so yeah, my Blythe's kind of over here. They're in an Our Generation diner. And I also have my American Girl Courtney's Pac-Man over here. So it's kind of like the diner has an arcade game there. But the next girl I ended up getting was I started making my own customs so that I could get more Blythe dolls, since they're so expensive to buy custom Blythe dolls. So this is their little nook, and I got the My Melody American Girl doll piano for them. And so over here, this is the first Blythe girl I customized, and I wanted an icy doll. So I decided to make her myself because I didn't have much more money in my budget at the time. And so she's an earth elemental fairy. And then after her, I made a different girl over in the diner, so I'll just skip her for now and talk about this girl. So this girl, I'll kind of move her over a little bit. So she is also an earth fairy, and I really wanted a girl with green hair, so I gave her green hair she came with the green hair, but I gave her then purple eyes and purple eyelashes and freckles. And I got like this outfit for her from Etsy. Sorry about the ugly electricity outlet. I liked the purple boots and the green overalls for her. And so then over in this area, I ended up making these two girls, which make me think of Sailor Moon characters with their bright hair. And so one's an icy doll and the other one's more of a standard. And then I made this girl too. And I was experimenting with different ways of making freckles. So with her, I used acrylic paint and kind of splattered it and then smudged it over her nose. So she's supposed to also be an air fairy. This girl is supposed to be, the yellow haired girl is a fire fairy, and the blue haired girl is a water fairy. And yeah, they have a little na-na-na panda, na-na-na surprise doll panda with them. And keep them company. And so then going back over to the diner, this is actually the second girl I customized, but she was all the way over here, and her name's Aurora, and she's a fire fairy. And then later on I started liking the Takara Blythe dolls, and so I got this girl and I named her Emberly, so they're both fire fairies. And yeah, the red-haired girl, I think I said her name's Aurora. And then from Takara as well, going on the fairy theme, I got this girl with the wings and I named her Evelyn. I really liked how she actually has wings, and I love the clothes and the shoes. She's just beautiful. And then I got this other little girl who I named Heirloom, and she's a water fairy. I really like these midi Blythes. And over here, I am getting a mermaid. She's also a water fairy, and her name's Isla. So that's my Blythe collection. These girls are hanging out at the Our Generation Diner. And these girls over the Our Generation School. And then these girls a little bit separated in their little Blythe nook. But those are my Blythes.